In 2006, an animation of the 1968 Doctor Who story, The Invasion, was released on DVD. The first in many missing episode reconstructions. It's considered one of the best animations in the entire range, even to this day. Join me in my journey of revisiting Doctor Who's missing episode range as we look back and reflect on this epic 8-part serial, discuss how well it holds up, and what the future could have looked like under these animators. The Doctor and his friends return to London and investigate a mysterious and powerful company, International Electromatics. Its managing director is Tobias Vaughan, who seems to be playing a dangerous game with the metallic men of Mondas, the Cybermen. The story is most famous for its iconic location footage, where the Cybermen take over London and break out of the sewers in their smelliest invasion yet. Episodes 1 and 4 are missing from the BBC's archive due to routine junking. These 2 episodes have been animated for this release, and the rest of the story is presented in its original surviving format. These 2 episodes were animated by Cosgrove Hall, an animation company that was famous for working on Danger Mouse. Yet, their first Doctor Who project was actually Scream of the Shouker, featuring Richard E. Grant as the Doctor. This was supposed to be an animated relaunch of Doctor Who, until it was announced the show was returning in live action instead. The Invasion was their chance to return to the Whoniverse and bring life back into these 2 missing episodes. In a behind-the-scenes feature, Flash Frames, they talk about the importance of sticking to the original story via its design elements, how it was shot, and trying to get as close to the original production as possible. They say it's because the fans care so much about accuracy, and they seem to have enjoyed the challenge and have put great pride in it. It's interesting revisiting this animation after so many years. I remember this being my first ever missing episode animation I ever saw. I saw it well after it was released, probably 2011, 2012, and I recall thinking how much I preferred it over the live action episodes. I felt the pacing was quicker in animation and was more engaging. Just the thought of other lost stories like Power of the Daleks and the potential that they could be animated one day just ignited my imagination. It was just a really exciting time and led me down this rabbit hole of a whole YouTube channel discussing missing episodes of Doctor Who. I went into this rewatch with the thought process that the memory cheats, that it wasn't as good as I remembered. But as soon as it started, I was instantly impressed. Of course, it has flaws, but it feels like the production company knew how to work around those flaws. For example, you will notice throughout the entire animation, you never really see any of the characters walk. Their movements are all done in close-up and they kind of just bob around. That's because it's easier to animate them bobbing around than to animate their legs moving. You could say it cheapens the animation, but it just doesn't. I feel like they are just experts in knowing how to cut corners. It's about disguising and covering up your lack of time and budget, and I think that is a real skill. The artwork is stellar. All of the likenesses are instantly recognizable, which is vitally important when it's animated alongside surviving episodes. The transitions between live action and animation is seamless and isn't distracting. Another expert cost-saving technique can be seen in the TARDIS opening sequence. The set is really just a roundel background with a console on top, and that's it. But the artwork is lit so nicely and the console just shines. It doesn't need anything extra to make it work. It's just one piece of artwork moved into a close-up and back into a wide. We don't need a million different angles when you just make one perfect. It's simple but well executed. Most of the newer animations use these incredible 3D sets where they can get any angle. And personally, I love that freedom as an animator to get any shot that I want. But Cosgrove Hall just said, here's the angle, we're going to draw it nice and light it well and just commit to it. And I really respect that approach because they have confidence in their abilities. It just works. Sometimes it can seem like it's just a screenshot that has been painted over in Photoshop, but it still looks good. I think getting such an experienced company to work on these animations means that you're just getting quality work no matter the budget. The thing that makes this animation so effective is its use of lighting and shadows. Every single shot they've thought about how it should be lit. From long noir-like shadows that cast against the wall to tree-leaf foreground shadows over the characters' faces. It's clear that the animators have used film as their reference and have a love for black and white cinema. Lighting for black and white is so different to colour. You can be so much harsher with it, and it just shines. It's so atmospheric and moody, and I think lighting is the most important part when it comes to a cheaper budget animation. My biggest issue with the Underwater Menace animation was the compositing. It just didn't have the lighting that it needed. It was so flat and boring to look at, and the colours were just an eyesore, in my opinion. The difference side by side is just shocking. My own personal cheap animations I've done only look half decent because of lighting. It's vital. And I hope that any future animators for Doctor Who make lighting a priority too. Animation can't always replicate the performance of the cast. It can be difficult to animate those small movements and endless variations of expressions, but I think they did an impressive job with getting as close as they could. It's sometimes more expressive than the newer animations. Vaughn getting angry at Packer, Troughton's expressive face. They see the challenge and they just rise to it. Some Doctor Who fans are very fanatical about making these animations as close to the original as possible. They view these pieces as more of a historical document about recreating what was lost. But the stylization feels like it's something that could have been achieved by the original production if they were given a little bit more time and a little bit more budget. They found the perfect balance between replicating film style and going all out with animation. It's a polish, not a reimagining. Yet I'm sure some of those purists might be upset by some of the Easter eggs hidden in the production, such as a car license plate being the broadcast date of an unearthly child. In future animations, these Easter eggs would sometimes be a bit more noticeable than these smaller things. I personally don't get much out of these Easter eggs, but I'm not upset by their presence. Originally, there were plans to have more reimagined elements, such as a large hovering screen of Vaughn, but was eventually vetoed due to the decision to keep it within 60s budgets. For many missing episodes, telesnaps survive. Telesnaps are essentially screenshots of the episodes. The Invasion does not have any of these telesnaps surviving, so the animators went off the original camera script and the look of the surviving episodes. Knowing that, it's even more impressive how well this animation flows. There doesn't feel like there's moments of characters standing around not sure what to do in the silences of the audio. Although some of the audio was trimmed in order to work around some of the more mysterious silence gaps, but nothing feels like it's missing from the narrative. The animated episodes never lag or feel awkward. The animators also used a process called rotoscoping, where they would film someone performing a movement to give a reference to the animators so they could hand draw or trace over it. There are some great moments of this, and the decision to showcase them in silhouette is a smart one. It's stylistic whilst also saving time. That way they don't have to put too much detail in it. It's a really smart decision. These episodes are really difficult to animate also. Episode 1 is the first episode of the story, obviously, so it has to be impressive from the get-go. You've got to sell the viability of the animation to an audience who has never watched a missing episode this way. Episode 4 is filled to the brim with action sequences and helicopters, and the team just rise to the challenge and they nail it. Only the final shot of episode 4 features a Cyberman. They don't appear in any other moment of episodes 1 and 4, so it's kind of sad that the animators didn't get a chance to really go hard with them. But for their singular shot, they look great. There's a shot of the TARDIS team mounting their helicopter ladder, and this Dutch tilt angle, the newer animations wouldn't even try to attempt that. This team is so intentional with their shots. They're not afraid of putting extra effort into hero shots and do more extreme angles. It just feels so purposeful. And dialogue scenes are free to be more basic, freeing up more time to work on these glamour shots. And I think it's a real fair trade-off. When I think of missing episodes of Doctor Who, I never think of the Invasion being missing. That is a testament to the quality that Cosgrove Hall has achieved with this production. Choosing to do the Invasion as the first animation is such a smart choice, because it's such a brilliant story. There's a scene in episode 1 where the Doctor has a real go at the automated receptionist. And I remember thinking on the first time watching this that I thought it was really anti-technology. I had always thought that it was odd that the Doctor would hate computers, which is a trait he really has in the first 3 incarnations. But now with the advent of AI chatbots and how impossible it is to get information from them, I totally relate to the Doctor being anti-tech in this scenario. The scene where Zoe destroys the computer and laughs maniacally, I can relate so much. I think there is a bit of truth in the statement that Doctor Who is only as good as its villains, and this story proves it. The Cybermen aren't the main focus when it comes to villainy, it's Vaughn. Kevin Stoney brings yet another incredible performance to the show, and it is so electric. It's interesting seeing a story where just the missing episodes are animated and not the entire story. The current approach is that all episodes, including the surviving ones, are animated in full. They've done this so the entire story can work as an animation, and they can sell it just as that. It's nice to revisit a time where it was about recreation rather than reimagining. I enjoy both approaches for different reasons, but the purist at heart does think that this is probably the better approach. But times must change, and the animations have to be profitable. The animation of the invasion was covered under the budget of the Doctor Who website and was to be a test of concept. Although the DVD was a success, the sales weren't enough to justify making further animations, which is a massive shame. Because the next story considered was the power of the Daleks, and some test shots were put together which are absolutely breathtaking. It would have been incredible to see what their version of power could have looked like, but it wasn't meant to be. The amount of love and care the animators put into this production is obvious. It's an incredible piece of work. From their intense study of the script and audio, listening to every sound and matching it to the animation, the incredible artwork, the economical yet expert approach to character movement, the lighting. I can't stop talking about the lighting. It's moody, it's atmospheric, it's Doctor Who at its best. I think it's fair to say that if Cosgrove Hall didn't knock it out of the park for this release, there wouldn't be this many missing episode animations sitting on our shelves. These animations are my special interest. I love them. I love the missing episodes, so I thank the team for their work and for turning me into a missing episode freak. I wouldn't have started this channel without you, so thank you. So, what did you think of the animation of the invasion? Let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Josh Snares YouTube channel.